Hey, Allie.
Hey, Seth.
So today we've got Mike Croley from the 6th District of Tennessee on the show. Very
hmm
excited to have him, our second person from the great state of Tennessee,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's great. We had Victoria Broderick on here. What district is she in? She's in
Four.
In the
fourth
fourth.
district. Mike's running in the sixth district. So we love seeing Tennessee represented here. Hey, Mike, welcome to Lift Out Loud.
Hey, thanks, Allie. Thanks, Seth. I appreciate the offer to be on here. It's great to speak with you guys.
And we're so happy to have you.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right in. Why don't you talk about maybe some of the challenges that you're seeing or feeling in your district right now, you and your fellow Tennesseans?
Yeah, sure. That's kind of the catalyst of why I'm running is
hmm
because of what we're seeing here. Um, my platform for my campaign is affordability, accessibility, and accountability, with affordability being the number one.
Sure.
And I'm sure it's not just unique to Tennessee, but gas prices, prescription
hmm
drug prices, health insurance, cars, grocery stores. I mean, folks are getting squeezed more than we've ever been squeezed before. And
Yeah.
a lot of folks that have had that nest egg are having to use it now. So, it's not, the path forward is not as defined as I wish it was. But a big concern that we're hearing around here is a lack of opportunity, which
hmm
which tracks, and concern about data centers. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a big hot topic for everybody. But
hmm
we it's not part of the sixth district, but in Nashville, I think they're pretty set on putting a data center right across from the Nashville Zoo. And in fact, they have the permits approved and
What could
everything.
go wrong? What could go wrong,
What
Mike?
the other thing is, in a meeting somewhere, someone had to say, "Hey, let's put it right by the zoo," and someone agreed to that. Right? I
I
mean,
hope the
it's
animals revolt.
I do
Honestly.
too. Yeah. It's like, have you never seen a scary movie? I mean, this is how Planet of the Apes starts. Right? I mean,
Right.
don't put a data center next to the zoo.
Gonna
Come
have a
on.
bunch of rogue zoo animals that are, God
Yeah,
knows what's gonna happen to them from exposure to that
that's
data
right.
center. Ugh,
Yeah, and
awful.
They drank the data center water.
Well, they
And
will lose
now
their own water to
and
the
now
data
they're
center
coming
more
right,
for
likely.
us.
Oh,
It's
right.
nuts.
And we here in Tennessee, we just went through another mid-district, mid-election redistricting,
hmm
mid-decade, right? Uh, we have a Republican supermajority, both the House and the Senate, so they can pretty
Yeah.
much do whatever they want. So the scariest thing for me was the quickness in which it happened. So they had Cali versus Louisiana, which effectively gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then President Trump called Governor Bill Lee. Marsha Blackburn tweeted to Governor Bill Lee about, "Hey, we need to redraw these districts." And that was like on the Friday. On Monday, they were back in session to redraw the congressional districts. So, yeah, people have a distrust of the government here, and I think for the right reasons.
For good
And
reason. Yeah.
I want to bring honor and decency and respect back to the government. And this current administration seems to do everything they can to take it the other way. But the fact is, I'm not running against President Trump as much as I would love to.
hmm
So I'm not going to spend too much time focusing on him and his administration. But the reason I'm running is because I was a DOGE federal employee. I
Oh,
um I worked
Oh,
for NOAA, yeah, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric
no
Administration,
way. Wow.
and I was loving life, being a public servant. I helped manage a $575 million grant program, the Climate Resilience Regional Challenge, and I was working remote, just being a public servant, being a federal employee. And when Trump came in, right? They came in. You all remember this is the Doge
yeah.
fiasco, right?
Of
Yeah.
course. course.
So I was on probation because I hadn't been there for 2 years. So if you were on probation, you got cut no matter what.
Immediately gone.
My supervisor actually got promoted, which put him on probation. That's
Right,
just
because you're starting a new role. Yeah.
that's right. They cut him. He had just
Oh.
been promoted, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
this had nothing to do with job performance, and there's
Absolutely.
a lot of people that on the right will say, well, we had a lot of waste. We had people that weren't doing their jobs. Probation in the private sector is typically when you are not performing up to
That's
the
right.
standards of the role. Probation in the federal government is if you are new to a job or you're new to a role, you're automatically put into a probationary period. It's a wait and see. And
That's
then,
right.
when you meet all of the standards of that position and sort of prove yourself, then that probationary period goes away. So, I don't think people understand
That's
probation
right.
doesn't mean the same thing in the government for a federal position that it does in the private sector.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, thanks for that, Ali. And in fact, not only did I not do anything wrong, I had stellar performance
Yeah.
remarks. And
So many people did, Mike. It's a
yeah,
travesty.
it really is. And I mean, as a federal employee, we were underpaid,
Yeah.
undervalued, right? But I'm a public servant. It's what I do
Right.
best. So,
Right.
um,
I'm
yeah,
so
before
sorry
that, I
that
was,
happened to you.
yeah, well, I tell you, the good thing that came out of it is I'm running for Congress because
Yeah.
if my representative had done his job, I would still be working for the federal government and you all wouldn't know my name and that would be
Mm-hmm.
just fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason things happen. And I mean, he literally didn't answer his phone when I called his office. He has three offices, one in Gallatin, one in Cookville, and one in Washington, D.C. And I called his offices every day. I have four kids, a wife, two dogs, a
Ugh,
house. Like this was my career. So I was calling my representative to save my career.
it's
And
devastating.
he didn't call me back, not once, like not once.
Not
Like
shocking. And
you
I'm
know,
sure that this is the experience of a lot of people across the country, and especially in a Republican supermajority state like
that's right.
Tennessee. And that's not the only supermajority Republican state in the country. Um,
Yeah, unfortunately,
it just breaks my heart to hear stories like this. But also, I mean, what an incredible way to sort of use what happened to you as a catalyst for helping other people in the community and at
Yeah.
the federal
yeah,
level.
yeah, and again, public service is what I do best. I
Mhm.
I joined the Navy out of high school. I served for 10 years. I was a Tennessee State Park Ranger. I
Yeah.
worked in the backcountry here in Tennessee,
Wow.
and I worked as a veterans service coordinator. I helped veterans use their educational benefits.
Yep.
So, I mean, and the reason I'm running for Congress is because it's a public service position. It's not
Hmm.
glamorous. It shouldn't be glamorous.
Hmm.
We shouldn't be making millions of dollars if you didn't have billions of dollars coming in, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, there's a whole lot we touched on it, but there is waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government, right? I
Mhm.
mean, there's waste, fraud, and abuse everywhere, but
Sure.
and and it's you can put your head in the sand and say that it doesn't exist, but that doesn't change the fact that it does exist. But if I had a splinter in my finger, I could chop my arm off and take care of that
Right.
splinter, right? Like, and that's what
Right.
DOGE did.
Yeah,
They just came
exactly.
in, literally, he had a chainsaw.
Yep.
And again, I could save a lot of money this month by not paying my electric bill, right? But next
You're not
month,
going
I'm
to
going to
have
have to pay
electric.
my right, exactly, and
Yeah,
I'm going to have to pay back. And
exactly.
everyone that was furloughed that wasn't getting paid, they all get back pay. So not
Mhm.
only are we losing out on all this manpower, but because they don't know how the government works, people are getting paid to do literally nothing, and it's
Mm.
it's it's insane. But anyhow,
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, that is it's very interesting though that you were working for NOAA because, obviously we felt the weight of those cuts and we felt the consequences almost immediately, right? the flooding in Texas, over 100 Americans dead as a result. And this is what happens when you nickel and dime the important things, right? And so what I would like for you to do is just to tell us, like, what cuts to NOAA did to the state of Tennessee and surrounding states. What does that look like? What are we missing out on that NOAA was providing?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Seth. And I also did rotations with the Department of State and with USDA, most recently with USDA. So I'll start there. You might recall there were some headlines about USDA was closing food banks whenever Trump first came
Yep.
in. And while that's technically true, the USDA was forced to close these food banks, right? Like that's literally the job of the USDA is to provide agriculture and food for folks. So for them to close a food bank just goes against the mission, goes against everything they stand for. So they were directed to close food banks. On the NOAA side, I was paid through Inflation Reduction Act funds, which were a Biden-Harris funding initiative. And when Trump came in, that's the first thing he started taking away.
Of course.
And, I was paid through that. So that was my job. But we were also paying out this grant program that I'd spent 2 years working on. They were paid through Inflation Reduction Act funds. So one of the first things I did was make sure all those funds were allocated, right? Get them out of our account, get them into their account. But they've closed branches down. They closed the USDA branch that I was working at. The Department of State program that I was working under was emergency management. We talked about hurricanes. What we did was held coordination calls with our different embassies across the world to do hurricane coordination calls, make sure they had they were prepped, had plans in place, contingencies. That branch is gone now. So I'm sure you remember Sharpie Gate, right? During Trump's first administration when there was a hurricane.
Yeah.
And he was like,
changed the direction
what?
of it. Yeah.
Yes.
And he literally took a Sharpie. So that would have been enough for NOAA as an agency. Like, he's a malignant narcissist and you just made him look bad on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about NOAA is that we are housed under the Department of Commerce, which I don't know why they were housed under the Department of Commerce, but Trump didn't know where to look. Right? So that's why we survived his first administration. The second administration.
My God. Pause.
Yeah.
Pause. So he would have probably cut the program his first term, but he didn't know where the funding source came from, where you guys were actually housed.
And that's my opinion.
Right.
But
it tracks though, Mike.
But yeah.
It tracks.
But
wouldn't surprise me.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, so anyhow, it was a attack on our federal workforce, and it was very surreal to be a federal employee during the Trump administration change. It wasn't just that, but we had to every Monday provide 5 things that we had done the past week.
Oh my God, I heard about that. That was real. So did you have to participate in that?
I did. Yeah.
So childish. I mean, talk about
childish.
micromanaging to the maximum.
And I was giving it to my supervisor, who I spoke with on a daily basis, right? So she knew exactly what I was doing all week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just.
And that's the thing, people, when they work in these jobs, whether it's federal government or private sector, unlike Congress, we have accountability, right?
Exactly
Typically,
right.
you have one-on-ones with your supervisor, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. There's no miscommunication or waste when it comes to what people are actually doing 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
That's
so to
right.
have to come up with a list is just, it's so insane. And nobody's looking at that list.
No one is.
Who's going to read that list?
Yeah, no one is. And my supervisor had to do it, right? Up the chain to her supervisor, to her supervisor. And it's like, and not my job specifically, but a bunch of those were confidential, right? So
Yeah, right.
it's
Exactly.
just redacted, right? I mean, these are the 5 things
Exactly.
I did. Don't worry about it.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Incredible. Incredible.
yeah. We also got that fork in the road email around the same time, and it was the same email that he had sent to the employees at Twitter. But essentially it said there's going to be a lot of cuts, and if you want to go ahead and proactively resign, then
Yes.
we will pay you until September.
Right.
Your normal wage, you'll get all your benefits, just you won't have to come in, which is illegal. I mean, you can't pay federal employees not to work.
Exactly.
And again, it's just the chaos of them not knowing how government operates and just coming in with a sledgehammer.
Mm.
But
And that seems to be Trump's MO.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean, it is
100%.
because I mean, these guys are literally like, you talked about paying us not to work. We are actively paying companies to not fulfill their contracts with green energy.
Hmm.
That's right.
We are giving away hundreds of millions of dollars as we speak for wind companies to shut off
Mm.
their to shut off their turbines. Like
Right.
this is what we're doing. We are spending money to not be woke.
Right.
Thank
Yeah.
God we're just not woke
Right.
now
We
because we're
really
Yeah.
showed
broke.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
No, I worked as a consultant for the Tennessee Valley Authority. So I worked on their demand management side, which means that I would go and show manufacturing facilities in these large industrial plants how to be more energy efficient. So conservation is at my heart, and that
Hmm.
stings, Seth. I didn't know that they were paying people
Yeah.
not to run their turbines. I know they did that with farmers around here. They paid them not to use their fields uh,
Mm.
to drive the price of stuff up, which is just completely counterintuitive.
Insanity.
Yeah,
Insanity.
yeah,
So we talked about kind of like what the needs are for people in Tennessee, which are very similar to the needs of all Americans. We're all
sure.
struggling under this economy. And sort of your background and what drove you to run for Congress. But talk to me about sort of the landscape of the race itself, right? You mentioned earlier that you don't have an incumbent because the person previously serving as congressperson in your district is now running for governor. So that role has become vacant or will become vacant. Um, what's the race like? How many people have you got in there? What's the political makeup versus, Republican versus Democrat, maybe independent, maybe libertarian, and just how's it going so far?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I launched my campaign April 2025,
Okay.
right as soon as I was let go, and there were two of us Democratic candidates at that time,
Hmm.
and two Republican candidates. And so when they redistricted and re-gerrymandered in May, they opened it back up. So anyone that wanted to run again could, which,
Okay.
okay, fine. The original filing date was March of this year, but
Right,
they
right.
reopened it. And when that happened, some people just started coming out of the woodworks. So there's now four Democratic candidates. I'm sorry, there's five Democratic candidates, but one of them's not actively campaigning. She
Okay.
she pulled paperwork, but she's not actively campaigning. And then there's four GOP candidates. And
Okay. So
yeah, so
pretty crowded race.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And we have our primary early August, so we'll have one Dem and one Republican candidate. And I'm confident that it's going to be us, but there
Hmm.
are five Democratic candidates. Um, but we were at a Farm Bureau forum in Ridley, Tennessee, which is it's as rural as you'd want to be. We
Yeah.
actually had it on a farm, and they asked us. There were eight candidates. There were 16 questions that we all randomly chose to, right? And I spent a lot of time doing research and getting my talking points in order. The GOP candidates blamed illegal immigrants, Muslims, Iran, And then, they each said President Trump's name maybe 10 times. And we
Sure.
really didn't have that long to talk, maybe like 5 minutes total, broken up. And that told me everything I needed to know. I
Yeah.
mean, and again, people are disenfranchised with this current administration.
And I think people are sick of hearing those talking points in terms of that's what's responsible for our current way of living, right? Our
Exactly.
current way of life. Because you can't on one hand say, look at all we've accomplished with deportations and detentions, and also the economy sucks because of immigrants.
Deportation.
Like, how
Right,
can
right.
you, like, how do you make those two things? They're just incongruent.
That's
Um,
right.
and I think people are waking up to the fact that all of the culture war bullshit that Trump ran on and continues to talk about is not making, a hill of bean of difference in our
Mm,
everyday lives. And
that's
I'm
right.
sure you're seeing that with the people you're talking to as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And, an analogy I sometimes use is the fans of Trump are kind of like the guys at a strip club that think that the stripper likes them, right? And it's like,
Yes.
you just gave her $20, dude. That's why she's
Uh-huh.
talking to you, right?
I'm
Like
in
he
love with the
doesn't
stripper.
exactly.
Yes.
He
Yes.
Easy
doesn't care
mark.
about you whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll tell you that he does, right? And he'll say all the words you need to hear. And I think that's what made him so popular, right? As a Democratic candidate, I'm not thrilled with what our party has done the last 10 years.
Me
And
either.
when Trump first appeared on the scene, instead of realizing the impact that he would have being the outside candidate, right? We doubled down and we were almost pandering to people, like
Mm.
speaking down to them. And that had such a negative impact, right? And I think we're seeing the repercussions of that right now.
Yep.
And when Trump got elected the second time, it really broke my heart. I mean, it truly did. I never felt more disconnected from my country than I did right then.
Yeah.
And I knew that Project 2025 was out there and it called for
Mm-hmm.
abolishing the very agency that I work for.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, but my dad he's not as hardcore MAGA any longer, but he's on the MAGA train.
Still,
Um,
still, Mike, with
still,
everything that you've experienced, that's so heartbreaking. And
yeah,
all of us have experiences with family, friends
Yep.
that are still riding for MAGA. They might not want to talk about it as much as they used to,
that's right.
or they're not as confidently talking about it the way that they used to. Um, but my God, when your son is part of the fallout
Literally,
of
yeah.
this administration and that doesn't break, you're in a cult.
You're
Like,
in a
I'm
cult,
sorry.
exactly. He did admit that Iran, he said that was Trump's first mistake. I mean, I'm not going to argue the number of mistakes.
We'll
He
take any
admitted he made a
mistake you want to
mistake.
count, Dad. You know?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But I think the most dangerous thing we have facing us as a nation right now, and I'm not speaking hyperbole, is Fox News.
Hmm.
And I mean, I hear it. My parents divorced when I was 7. I've never heard them agree on anything, but I hear the same talking points from both of them.
Hmm.
And lately it's democratic socialism and how bad that is for everyone.
There's
Not to
such a
mention that
stigma around the word, right?
that's exactly it.
But
It's
if
panic.
people dig in, it's panic. But if people dig into what does that look like for your actual life, your lives, your
Absolutely.
day-to-day life, policy
Yeah.
wise, it's common sense. It's
It's
policies for
common
the
sense.
people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've tried capitalism, right?
Yeah.
And we have a trillionaire. We have failed collectively.
Hmm.
We have failed with capitalism. And I'm a numbers guy. I'm an engineer by trade.
Yeah.
So just to give you a reference, and this might make sense or it might not. If I asked you to go back in time 1 million seconds ago, right? Like if I had $1 million, I'd be set, right? So
Right.
I'm trying to do the scale. That would be like last Wednesday.
Hmm.
Okay, we'd go back in time. If I asked you to go back in time 1 billion, That's 35 years,
Yeah.
right? So we're
And
talking like this is a million, this is a billion.
yeah.
Who knows what a trillion is? I mean, I haven't even looked it up. I mean,
I mean, that's going to be difficult to even quantify, right?
exactly.
It's
And
such
to
a
get to the
big,
point
big number.
where you have $1 billion, you've had to step on so many people's throats,
Yeah.
right? And ignored so many people's needs. You could have solved
We
world
just talked
hunger. You
about
could,
that last night. Like, no one is becoming a billionaire through ingenuity.
that's right. That's right.
Very
You were
few.
born into wealth more than likely.
Right.
You were given every advantage educationally, probably went to Ivy Leagues, had a huge network just kind of built in from all of those experiences, and you exploited a lot of people to
Oh
get
yeah.
there. You have
And I
to.
think what Trump got $1 million loan from his dad, right? Like, I mean,
Sure.
Oh no, it was more than that. It was
right,
Yeah.
like
right.
it was
And
like in
it's
the hundreds of millions, which would equate to a billion today.
Yeah.
So
today,
he
sure.
was handed he was made a billionaire by his father.
Right.
This guy
Yeah.
he's never had to work for anything, and the
No.
majority of these people haven't had to work for anything. And I
He's
think maybe people are starting to figure that out. I was talking to my dad today, like he's got $1 trillion.
Right.
It's an unspendable amount of money. You can
no, you
spend every day
couldn't.
the rest of your life buying crap, and you'd never be able to spend $1 trillion. You'd never be
Yeah.
able to
Mhm.
do it. So, like, why in the world do we allow it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we're not
Yeah.
like as far out of the. We're not as far into the woods. I would say economically, like we could still conceivably come back, and because I want to turn the conversation to affordability because it's one of your main tenants. It's your number one tenant.
Yeah.
And you know, within and on your website, what really piqued my interest was because I'm a numbers guy too. Is a WNI wealth tax that could result in upwards of $6 trillion just from the wealth that we have just in America. Like people need to know, like we have a $30 trillion GDP.
Hmm.
It's
That's right.
stupid. Like we are insanely productive. And yet so many people are broke. So many people are broke and it doesn't make any sense. I want you to talk a little bit about that tax policy and just a little bit
Sure.
more about affordability because like we could have these things. The money is there. Zoran is showing us, but I want
Hmm.
you to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, thanks, Seth. It's something I say a lot is we have the money, we don't have the values, right? We,
Hmm.
like you just said it.
Priorities.
I mean, we
Yes, dude.
have the
Yes.
money. So, yeah, affordability, like you said, it is my number one tenet, and it's so much more than just one thing, right? I mean, it's grocery prices, it's these tariffs, it's Trump treating the stock market like it's his own piggy bank, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I've watched it happen in real time. Um, but you know, it's other things like prescription drug prices and healthcare, you know, medical insurance. When I was in the military, we had universal basic health care. That's not
Yep.
what we called it, right? But I never paid for health care. If I was
Right.
sick, I went to the sick call. If I needed a prescription, I got a prescription. To think about paying for it seemed ridiculous. So we do it for our military. We have the foundation, we have the structure already built. And again, we have the money to do this. We just don't have the priorities or the values, unfortunately. But yeah, when folks ask me how I'm going to make things more affordable, my answer is pretty simple. We're going to tax the rich. And I mean, I know that's again common sense. Why doesn't everybody do it? I don't know. But what the rich are doing is they're exploiting tax loopholes. So
Hmm.
they'll borrow money against themselves, right? Or there's a phrase, unrealized gains, right? They'll um, they'll take out a bunch of loans on collateral, and that
Hmm.
doesn't technically count as income, right? So they don't pay any taxes. So there's a bunch of clever loopholes that they use, and we just close those loopholes. It's not
Yeah.
that difficult. Another is the cap on Social Security,
Hmm.
which it again, common sense. That would
Yeah.
solve the Social Security issue. I'm 47. So the reality of me getting Social Security is next to nothing. It's the reality of my 26-year-old son being able to afford a single family home, right?
Hmm.
It's just not in the cards right now.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, we are the most, and you said it, Seth, we're the richest nation in the world. 2026. And the fact that we have homeless veterans, right? Like
Unacceptable.
again, we have the money, we don't have the priorities, we don't have the
Hmm.
values, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not going to be very popular in Congress with a bunch of the millionaires and billionaires because I'm going
I
to say it
mean,
like it is, right? Like,
yeah, that I would not aspire to be popular
that's
with
right.
millionaires and billionaires. You certainly wouldn't be here with us if you were looking
That's
to
right.
curry favor with the
That's
top
right. Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
So I think that's noble, honestly.
Yeah.
And we need more of that. And I think, we're at a time where we have the establishment Democratic Party, and then we have, progressives popping up kind of all over the country. And um, I hope that the party starts to kind of reform itself from within
That's right.
and lean into the values and the very popular policies that
That's right.
democratic socialists are on board with and making happen. New York City being the prime example. New York people that live in New York City are thrilled. And people are not moving away. In fact, housing is bigger and better than ever, and the most expensive housing in New York City is going quicker in terms of resale than it has before.
Mm,
So, all of the things that they try to do to scare people into simping for millionaires and billionaires, when it's enacted in a policy form and you can see how it does work and it doesn't drive businesses away, it doesn't drive people away,
that's
they're
right.
running out of excuses, right? It's
They
just,
they are. And the people the angriest about New York don't live in New York,
yeah,
right? They all
exactly.
live outside and they're like, well, look at what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, look at what he's
Everybody loves it.
doing.
Why do you think they voted for all the
Right.
people that he endorsed in the primary?
Exactly. Exactly. And no one voted for the guys Trump endorsed, right? I mean, like read the
No,
room.
read
And
the room.
Allie, like that's an excellent point because the fact that we have a two-party system, I'm not a big fan of that, right? But inherently with a two-party system, you have the Republican Party, which is the party of the straight white male and his family, right? And then
Hmm.
the Democratic Party is everybody else.
The Big Tent.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the melting pot that America, that we always tout. We are
Hmm.
more representative than we are, of America in the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. And with that, if there's a group that you don't necessarily align with, say you're a racist or you just don't like a certain group, chances are they're in the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah,
Because we include so many people.
exactly.
So if
And
you're a white man and you're
inclusivity is
bigoted,
is not a bad word either. Like,
no, no,
you know what
no,
I
yeah,
mean? Like, I don't know how we got to this place where being inclusive and accepting and honestly live and let live, that's kind of a Democratic Party tenet.
yeah,
Um, I don't, I we've just gotten so far away from the ability to see eye to eye on, Republicans have historically been for small government. They've never been bigger. They've never been bigger. And the
that's what they
culture
say, right?
wars are turning into policies, and there is no live and let live. They want
Mm,
government inserted into every single part of our lives now. They have gone so far away from the foundational
that's
principles
right.
of that party.
That's right. Like the SAVE Act, right? Like voter infringement,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they every policy they implement, it's hurting us. It's hurting us.
Mhm.
And to not see that, you're turning a blind eye. And you're right. I mean, the Republican Party at its core is the party of small government, right? And
Mhm.
and they have abandoned that. I wish we could get back to Lincoln Republicans, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if I like the New York Yankees and you like the Red Sox, right? We might not agree on that, but we both
Mhm.
like baseball,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's been with politics my entire life, except for
Right.
now, it's like, well, I'm definitely not a Nazi, right? So
Right.
like, I mean, and there's
I don't think
Nazis
we
on
can
your
agree
team,
to
dude. So,
disagree on that.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly. It's
Like if you
like,
want to be a
okay,
Nazi, we have nothing to talk about. Like that's the end of the
Blocked.
exactly.
You're
conversation.
blocked. You're blocked
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I'm
immediately.
not going to give it any energy. I mean, And I was at a Jewish league this afternoon for a forum, and they asked about the rise in anti-Semitism, and
Hmm.
I said, we've literally fought wars over this. We are going backwards as a
Hmm.
civilization. We are proactively giving up rights, giving up freedoms that we might not ever get back. I mean,
Yeah.
no one relinquishes power once they have it, right? I mean,
No, that's not how that works.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
I want to give Seth the final question today, but
Sure.
before we do that, when's your primary?
August 6th is
Okay.
election day. Yeah.
Okay. So
And
it's coming up.
early voting starts July 17th, so less than a
Oh,
month.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've got four other Democrats or three?
There'll be four other Dems. I'll be the second one on the ballot. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, how do people find you? You have a website? You're
I
active on
do.
socials?
I'm
So
very
just
active on
talk real quickly
socials.
about how people can find you and what you need.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. Crowley for Congress. My last name is Croley. There's no W in it. I'm saving the W for November. But
I love
Oh,
it.
well done.
yeah,
Well
yeah,
done. Well
thanks.
done.
I am on every social media platform except for Shitter because again, there's Nazis there, and I'm not going to a Nazi party. So
We're not on there either.
yeah, but I'm even on Blue Sky because
Hmm.
why not? But TikTok, again, I'm 47. I never imagined I'd be on TikTok, but here we
I
are.
know.
Here we are.
Uh, Facebook, Instagram, all of the favorites.
Hmm.
And quite honestly, I need donations. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone does, but our our last day is June 30th in 2 days. Uh, to really raise funds before not our last day, but the deadline is June 30th for this next release of information, right? So
Hmm. The
we have up
FEC.
until June 30th, that's right, to
Yep.
to raise money, and then on July 15th, 2 days before early voting, is when they're going to release our numbers.
Okay.
So, and I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't like it, but the amount of money a candidate raises is a direct reflection of their viability as a candidate for some reason. So
100%.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't
I
like it
mean that's
either.
just how it is. But so yeah, if folks want to donate, support a grassroots campaign, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can't afford to donate, just please spread the word.
Perfect.
All right. Well, another part of your AAA policy that you have on your website, the last one is accountability. And so,
Mhm.
to kind of round out this interview, I'd like for you to just talk about like what we talked about priorities, right? Like, what do you want to prioritize in terms of how you want to keep this administration accountable, how you want to keep the other party accountable, how you want to keep centrist Democrats accountable? What are the things that you want to prioritize if you win in November and get to work?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and the accountability part was the one I struggled with the most because I know like inherently what I mean by it, but it's hard to qualify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
a couple things I mean by it is let's ban congressional stock trading, right?
Hmm.
That's accountability. That's easy accountability. I would also love to overturn Citizens United.
Hell yeah.
And it's just campaign finance reform and in general. So that's accountability like that. I can introduce legislation. I also will have subpoena power as a congressman, right? So there's accountability with all this circus that we're watching right now. Pete Hegseth has murdered people in Venezuela. We've all
Hmm.
watched it, and I cannot wait to hold him accountable for that. And then finally, this whole administration I'm going to hold accountable, not just Pete Hegseth,
Yeah.
but accountability, um, holding me accountable, right?
Mhm.
Again, I want to be a public servant. There's not ego in this for me. If there's a way I'm doing this that would work better for folks, please let me know. Or if I'm not holding enough town halls, please let me know. I have held a town hall every month since I've started, either
Wonderful.
virtually or in person, because our representative has never held one. And
Not shocking.
again, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true. Um, the man's job is literally our representative in Washington, D.C. He works for us.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't return my phone call or he's never held a town hall tell me another job that you have where you just don't do your job and still get
Literally,
paid.
you
I mean, it's
can't.
like,
You're done.
right? I mean,
You're
that's
done.
it. That's it.
If you
Yeah.
don't show up for work, and your work is not just going to DC when you're in
Yeah.
session. You know what I mean?
That's
Because
right.
that's not a huge chunk of your time.
I feel like that's the easy part, right?
That
Like
is the easy
that's the
part.
part all the groundwork you did leads up to that, right? Like all the hard work is outside of session.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and finally, Seth, accountability of I want to make the government respectful again. I like worthy of respect.
Mm.
And when I was in the military, I had an officer that, as a human, as a person, I just couldn't stand this person. But my commanding officer said, "You respect the uniform, not the man," right? And he was a senior official to me, so I respected his uniform, and I carry that, and I've never had to imply it to the office of the president until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect the office of the commander in chief. I respect the offices of the president of the United States. I do not respect Donald Trump as a person.
Yeah.
And every day he's in office, it belittles us and makes us less safe on the global scene, and directly impacts our economy. And
Our quality
I'm
of life.
hoping, I'm hoping people are going to realize that soon.
Yeah.
But I've been hoping that for since 2016, so I'm not
Well,
holding my breath.
you're doing more than hope, Mike, because you've thrown your hat in the ring, right? You're
That's right.
running for Congress. It's a huge sacrifice. We know, we talk to candidates all the time, especially as a grassroots candidate. You don't have huge budgets to campaign with, so it's your time, it's your effort, it's your presence, and it's a big sacrifice. And you've got, like you said, you're married, you got 4 kids. This is a time-consuming activity, so
It is.
I love to see anyone that takes that hope and turns that into action. And we're just so thrilled we got the chance to talk to you today.
Yeah, man.
Likewise.
Yeah. And so we do have a little accountability exercise that we like to do at the end of our shows.
Oh, right on.
We have a little scale. We have Chuck Schumer on one end and Bernie Sanders on the other, because the Democratic Party is quite the spectrum, right?
It really
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little bit better, but it's quite the spectrum. So what we like to do always when we bring people on is just to make sure that you're a grassroots candidate. You're not taking big PAC money. You're not taking big corporation money, APAC,
Nope.
so on and so forth, and that that you commit to the progressive ideals.
Absolutely. Yeah. No corporate PAC, no APAC, no special interest money. And on that scale, Seth, I would probably be sitting in Bernie Sanders' lap. That's how far. That's how I'm doing.
Well,
I,
that's
I,
perfect.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I did one of the political compasses, right? And yeah, I mean, mine was almost on top of Bernie. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So
Nothing wrong with that.
that's me,
That's the
right? Yes.
future.
no, that's where
That's
you
the
need to be.
future.
So we slide Mike on over to
Hmm.
our guy Bernie Sanders, and yeah, man, just again, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
You guys take your time, and it's not easy to be a Democrat in the South. It's
No.
not, and people
No.
need to understand that. And I understand that. I understand that coming from Alabama, and so it takes guts to really
Yeah.
stand up there, even when you've been gerrymandered shit. I
Mm,
mean, my God,
yeah.
they put Memphis in the same district as Jackson, Tennessee. I used to live
That,
in Jackson, Tennessee.
yeah.
There's nothing that Jackson, Tennessee has in common with Memphis.
No.
It's unconscionable.
They have Memphis and Chattanooga in the same congressional district too. Like,
Wild.
yeah, and Jackson is in the 6th district, Seth. So yeah, I know Jackson very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, man. But yeah,
Well,
again,
Mike, you're
so
you're
much.
a you're
Thank you.
real. Yeah, you're a real one. This was so much fun. We're wishing you obviously all the luck in the world. You're a friend of the show for life now. So,
Awesome.
if you need anything, if you want to come back on after that primary and continue to push, because we're gonna speak into existence. You're
That's
gonna
right.
win that primary. And
That's right.
hopefully you'll come back and we'll keep pushing the message for you.
Hell yeah, August 7th, I'll be back.
Yeah, love it.
Let's
Love
put the
that.
W in Crowley.
For
That's it. That's
sure.
right. There
Let's
you
put the
For
go.
sure.
W in Crowley.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so
Thanks
much.
so
It's
much,
been a
Mike.
pleasure.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Appreciate you.
you.
Well, Allie, that was a lot of fun talking with
Yeah,
Mike Croley, and
it sure
I
was.
mean that dude. I mean, a family guy, got multiple pets. Was a victim of the Trump Doge cuts, but I
Awful.
mean, this man has flipped it into a run for a congressional seat in that sixth district of Tennessee,
Yeah,
and I mean the people of Tennessee got really lucky,
they really did.
ironically, that he got fired because this is a guy that knows what he's talking about. He's from the area. He really cares, and he's been running for over a year. So
Yeah.
he's deeply entrenched. I love his chances, and I mean, he's running against a guy who has not done anything for that district.
Right, and that guy actually isn't running this time around, so he's running for governor. He thinks he deserves a promotion apparently. Hasn't held town halls the entire time he's held the office. Doesn't return phone calls of his constituents that get fired from their federal jobs, but let me get promoted to governor now. This is ridiculous. It's wild. I'm just glad he's out of the way, and it opens up the door for people like Mike to come in to this race and make the kind of changes that the people of Tennessee need and deserve. I just think he's fantastic. He's been through a lot. I mean, it just breaks my heart to hear how he lost his job as part of the Doge cuts. Being a father of four, a married man, it's just a horrible thing that didn't have to happen, that's happened to so many Americans as a result of this administration. And the fact that he took all that and turned it into a run for Congress, I mean, what's better than that? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and he's got great priorities. He's got them in order. He's
Hmm.
talking about affordability, talking about holding everybody accountable.
Yeah.
He went over several major bullet points. And this is the kind of guy that people in Tennessee need.
Yeah. And
It's
deserve. And
yeah, he's a
deserve.
familiar face. I
Yeah.
mean, who's more family values than this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, like, and he's still doing his thing, providing for his family, and
Hmm.
now he wants to extend that. And he's been a lifetime public servant as
Yeah.
well, a
Yeah.
veteran, held multiple different public offices, working within the government.
Hmm.
So he knows so
He
many of the
knows.
inner workings.
He
This is not
knows.
a guy who would just hit. He could actually hit the ground running. This
Yeah.
is not a guy who's going to have to learn on the job. So people in Tennessee, people outside of Tennessee, all my people, tell your folks in Tennessee about Mike because in this moment where he doesn't have to run against the incumbent, where he is an established face alongside these Republicans, it's a really good shot. And again,
Hmm.
our message, the Democratic Socialist message, the progressive message, is moving in the South.
Yeah.
And so if not now, then when?
If not now, then when? And you guys are official members of the White T-Shirt Club.
Yeah,
Love
we're
that.
about to go like sing some show tunes. Either that or we're gonna hit the Jersey Shore together.
Hilarious. All right. Well, we've got another interview coming up in a couple of days. Booked a couple of more I haven't even had a chance to catch up with you on yet. So we're moving right along. It is primary season. We're going to keep going. And I guess I will see you, Seth, in 3 days.
Let's go.
All right.